Know when I should start. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. I'm Genna Fudin, and I had the opportunity to serve with Mendocino County Resource Conservation District this past year, 11 months, and Nina and others before me did a great job speaking about um, kind of the North Coast region, CAT 2, working for Terra Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance. And I actually had the privilege of, through my role in Mendocino County, these are just some photos historically of where different ancestral communities are from, and this is from Native Lands Digital, and doesn't seem to be working on this presentation, but I'll share the slides with you all. It'll be on the YouTube, so you can click and see what native land you are on. The Mendocino County Resource Conservation District, its home base is in Ukiah, which is now referred to as Ukiah, California, but there's many tribal communities who are still there and continue to steward the land. There has been land changes, unfortunately, throughout the county due to colonization, such as tribal villages being destroyed for dams and different developments since settlers have come to inhabit the land. But the tribal communities, I can't speak for them, but from what I observed this year throughout Mendocino County is they're very diverse and resilient, and I have faith that they along with people who are also stewarding the land today, we can work together to continue to build climate resilience in the region. So just some background of where I came from. Well, I was born in the Northeast, but Northeast of United States, but these pictures are all different parts of California throughout the last 2 years. Well, now 3 or 4 years ago, but between 2020 and 2022, I was finishing up my undergraduate degree, and I got through my environmental sciences major and my food systems minor. I got to do a lot of practicum work with growers and farmers. On the left is in Fresno at Scott Family Farms, and I worked with him largely through an organization called Farms to Grow, which is in the middle. There's another partner from Farms to Grow, and that's urban farm agriculture work in Oakland, California, which is Ohlone land. And then on the right is in Gwenda, California, which I'm not sure who the closest fellow is this year, but I just love animals, and that was a young sheep, and they were frolicking, and it was a very special spiritual time for me. That was in 2022. So I just wanted to honor that and share these photos and some of my friends that I've met along the way. I pretty much summed this up, but this is since I graduated, I was in another fellowship where I got to work on southwestern and United States and other dry lands throughout California and New Mexico. But it actually turned out in 2022 to 2023 that there was a lot of rain in California. I don't know how it compared to this year, but I know that there were a lot of beautiful wildflowers that popped up. And these pictures on the bottom are, well, the pictures, the coastal picture with, you see the mountain, I think that's in Monterey County. And then Lompoc, where a White Buffalo Land Trust is Arushi is a manager, GIS manager there, and she, after like 4 days of field work, is super happy that we finished augering. And I don't remember exactly how many soil samples we took, but I know last year it was presented on by Darian, another GrizzlyCorps fellow. And then there's a biochar burn I was able to participate in, actually, this was in Arizona, Texas, and it was on a regeneratively managed farm. It's been in the family for generations, and over the years, they've had different certifications and have been bringing back responsible like land stewardship. And we did a biochar burn there, and actually in Mendocino County this year, I didn't get to participate very deeply in the process of biochar work and development in Mendocino County, but there's definitely a lot of exciting work on the horizon. And Hopland Research Extension Center, I'm pretty sure they've had workshops and webinars you can view. And also where I serve at the Mendocino County Resource Conservation District, we have a lot of exciting projects with biochar and implementing biochar practices on agricultural lands, and also even like forested lands and different partners we work with throughout the county. As Nina did a great job explaining what RCDs are, and each RCD as a special district and agency of California has their own unique mission that they draft, and I think it's like a living, at least at their MCRCD, I think it's a living dialogue. And each time we do strategic planning, we return to the mission and make sure that we are meeting the goals that we set out in the mission. But currently, the mission is to conserve, protect, and restore wild and working landscapes to enhance the health of the water, soil, and forests in Mendocino County. This is a photo. This is using the Native Lands digital map that some other photos I shared were from, and this is, showing how diverse the different Native communities that are present here, and their ancestral homelands. And it's not zoomed in, but you see Ukiah, and then the other with the blue pin, and then the other circle is Willits, which I'll talk a little bit more throughout my presentation. But I would say I spent a lot of time working in northern Pomo lands, and also at the end of central Pomo lands too, with between Hopland, HREC, and other land stewards in that area and along the coast. And then, yeah, it's not obvious in the map, but I'll also share in a little bit. Round Valley Indian reservation is a mix of many different tribes, and they were forcibly removed from their different ancestral homelands, such as in the area of what is now present day Chico. And there's a lot of history, a lot of reading you can do and I encourage you to do, and I'm currently in the process of learning more about the Round Valley Indian, the tribal communities that make up that reservation, and the really important, partnerships that tribal community is also having with other tribal communities throughout the county and beyond the county, you know, in the coastal regions and the more inner valley regions. I liked what Kat said about, or kind of with how we're out of balance right now and we're working to come back into balance. And the original stewards of, you know, the land have, you know, such deep ancestral wisdom that I think we can all learn from. I hope we, as a society, don't take what they teach us for granted, or take what they teach us in an extractive way, but that we move towards a very reciprocity and right relations with the land we care for collectively. Mendocino County is part of something called, it's been around for years, the North Coast Soil Hub. And they also are working, I'm pretty sure, on a new strategic plan, an updated strategic plan. But I captured this back in, I believe, December 2023, and on their website, they mentioned a goal is to foster connections to build soil health and agricultural resilience across Humboldt, Lake Moore, and Mendocino, Napa, and Sonoma counties. I've been super blessed to be able to all of them but Humboldt, I believe. Yeah, all of the places but counties but Humboldt. This year, I've been able to attend workshops and other trainings through this North Coast Soil Hub network, and also just like the robust California Association for Resource Conservation Districts network. And Humboldt, I did have some experience in a few years ago, and something I'm really passionate about, learning more and working in the future more with yeah, like Western coastal communities, and also communities inland, is the importance of salmonid restoration work and other an additional aquatic species work, and enhancing their native and spawning habitats, so we can continue to coexist with like our salmon relatives and a diversity of species for millennia, for years to come. Something as a soil hub I got to do at the beginning of my fellowship and continued through, it was a thread throughout the fellowship, was there were some workshops, some field trials and demonstration workshops near the end of the fellowship in Anderson Valley, which is part of Navarro River watershed. And I also meant to mention that Mendocino County, there's 3 major like watersheds, and you know, watersheds, it's depends what unit you want to think of, but 3 major watersheds Mendocino County Resource Conservation District helps work with partners with is Eel River watershed, Navarro River watershed, which is a more coastal watershed and smaller by land area than Eel River, and then the Russian River watershed. And Eel River goes up north, and then the Russian watershed goes down south through like Sonoma County and such. This was one of the first projects or site visits, site field work days I got to go on with the Mendocino County Resource Conservation District, and it was a lavender field. We were planting native hedgerows around the lavender field, and that was a really precious day. I was not, I was trying not to be biased with or finding this picture of what Apple identified as English lavender. This is where actually in 2015, where I grew up in southwestern Connecticut. But this was at a farm I worked at in southwestern Connecticut. And I thought it was interesting that, because I'm learning also more about like geospatial model, like geospatial analysis and stuff that we've been being tracked of where we've been living and working and stewarding for many, for almost 10, even more than 10 years now. So I'm also very passionate about data sovereignty and people knowing, like something about working with land stewards is we use a lot of different programs and softwares and grant management tools that I think it's really important to stay transparent with our partners and know where their like metadata is going. And that's something I didn't, in terms of the research side, do too much into this year, but I did in my last fellowship. And as I continue to, I hope to work for resource conservation districts for years to come. That's something I really want to respect of land stewards and their and them having access to their data and not being extracted by for profit. These are the left again is that hedgerow planting I did, and I just saw recently earlier today from my coworker Linda. She was recently out on the site, and the lavender fields and the hedgerows have grown so much over the past this was November 2023, so however many months. And I didn't have time to add the picture today, but I'm hoping on the YouTube video I can link some of these cool photos. And then also like respecting photo privacy, right? So like this specific land steward is very much wants to promote, right, their business is on Instagram, different sites, but then we also work with other land stewards who we have agreements. We make sure that we we respect their wishes of what we share. We really, the RCD's goal is to uplift, right, all of these different earth stewards. I'm sorry, I can't admit, okay. This is another workshop on the right I went to. This is just at the end, near the end of my fellowship, I got to dig more into well, I didn't necessarily dig into it, but like I did on the left, but learn about the importance of animal integration on the lands throughout California, and also like being really sensitive and aware, like in terms of management practice and decisions, like make sure they're not, in terms of like keeping a creek, clean of certain nitrogen, the rich like eutrophication types of system processes that we don't want to continue to endanger our waters. But there's other practices of animal integration where adding animals to the land responsibly, which has been done by many cultures for millennia, it can be done sustainably, and it can help bring native species and from wildlife to plants, to fungi, which we're just starting to learn a lot about, to the ecosystem. Just a note on the bottom right: don't wear all black in a field in a very hot weather. You want to definitely be prepared with what kind of clothes you wear out in the field, and that's something I learned this year, is I need to get better field clothes. And also advocating for our needs. So I think whatever, our next positions are as GrizzlyCorps fellows, like if we're doing, land conservation work, that's a basic need, and we should make sure that our our coworkers, our partners, and everyone's taken care of, and check in on that. And this is another site. The place mark this is a publicly available data that the Mendocino County, we work at, we work in Ukiah, in the Ukiah Valley Basin, and this is, we're doing quagga and zebra mussel monitoring, and I got to go out and do that a few times, and the place marks are just some of the photo points where at Mill Creek Ponds, there's an upper dam and a lower dam where we just monitor and make sure that there's none of the invasive species that would change the water system a lot if we found them there, and we'd have to let the channels who are responsible for regulation and stuff know. But people could come and fish here right now. Currently, there was a lot of rain this year in Ukiah Valley in the winter, so the water table is pretty high. Yes, this is more also in the Ukiah Valley, which is where I'm home base, but which I don't have time to get into. There's Mendocino County, there's so much landscape and, acres, hectares of beautiful space and, different woodlands and different types of like coastal vegetation, and then more valley vegetation and such that I just was able to scratch the surface of on this past year. But this you can see, this was one of my earlier projects. I worked with the water program. The Resource Conservation District separated into water program, soils program, a land program, and forestry program, but we all very much interact with each other. So it's very a dynamic type of partnership. But this specifically, I was working through the water program, and we were working on stream restoration work. And we, there was invasive species, we recommended to be removed, and then different plants that we, also the location currently has a lot of very diverse species. So really it's important to also check in with the landowner or the land steward, sorry, whoever's working with the land, and make sure their goals are being met too. And then you can see Willets in the foreground. I mean, it's about 30 minutes north of Ukiah. And Hakako Delay, this is a really cool project that I just really started to get to meet and learn from. And they're based in currently, the farm that they steward is in Casper, California, along the coast, but that's historically northern Pomo land, and it is a very diverse group of different indigenous land stewards, and also friends of indigenous communities, people that can be trusted on the land to work together, right, to collaborate and to share free food, and work to decolonize agriculture and heal the land and people. And also, I should mention, even people, what's really cool about Hakako Delay is they also invite people who maybe think differently, like, onto the land to experience and connecting to like each person's individual ancestral roots, exploring that, because we're all connected to the earth in some way, and we all have beginnings and origin stories, and so really knowing ourselves, I think, is a way that we can also be better relatives to those around us, and share space. This is just highlighting Jess Reed. She was a GrizzlyCorps alum from last year, and she's now hired on with the staff. And I got to work with her throughout the year on carbon farm plans and different other projects, like the Wildlife Conservation Board has a habitat implementation grant program that many RCDs are a part of. and that in Mendocino County is contracted to work with land stewards and agriculture operations and different projects to revegetate lands with native hedgerows, native species. Yeah, so 3,878 square miles of Mendocino County. This is the Yellow River watershed. I didn't have time to talk too much about it, but that Round Valley Indian Reservation in Covelo, sorry, California. It was either on my way there or my way back home, but the Yellow River watershed is a beautiful watershed, and it also, it has definitely endangered parts and salmonid and steelhead, different trout species that that many different agencies and local organizations have been working together to make sure all of that's protected and cared for. And that goes up to Humboldt County, Yellow River, and to throughout other counties. It's a really big watershed. This is Willits, which I mentioned briefly. I've also been able to do monitoring work here. This is the site of a really big Caltrans had put in a bypass, and it was like over many years of political and different historical conversations to get this. I don't remember how long it is, but it's a really long bypass that historically people would drive through Willits, right? And now it just you go over the bypass, and Willits as a community has just very much been changed. But something that did come out of this with the Caltrans, this project is the state, like at federal lands and state lands, I mean, of course we know who really, the land belongs to, but basically because of this project, through different laws and regulations have to make sure Caltrans has to comply and make sure that they keep well, you can't replace what you destroy, but after they built this bypass, they worked with the community. From what I understand, they worked a lot with the community to find the different lands that could be protected for like wetland establishment and other habitats that were destroyed through this construction. And there have been a lot of native species, and there's monitoring work that Mendocino County Resource Conservation District is the project manager on making sure that that these lands are sustainably stewarded in perpetuity. And my understanding is there has been some work with Native communities on the Willits mitigation lands, but I think there's definitely a lot of room for growth on reintroducing Native peoples to their ancestral homelands here.
Genna?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but you are a bit over time. Do you think you're able to wrap up in the next few minutes?
Okay, yeah, I've also get to do well monitoring work, and this is in Little Lake Valley and Willits, but I've also done that in Ukiah Valley as well. And I'm gonna skip these. These are just my love of animals, which has just expanded more this year. And I just want to give an abundance of thanks for everything the Resource Conservation District of Mendocino County and GrizzlyCorps have shared with me, and all the land stewards and people and species I've gotten to collaborate with and learn from. And yeah, this is a different landscape. This is Blodgett Research Forest Station, and this is the GrizzlyCorps, some of the GrizzlyCorps cohort. So I also want to thank the cohort for, yeah, I've learned so much from you too. So yes, thank you.
Thanks so much, Genna. So great to hear about your service year and excited you'll be staying in the RCD world and be working with Contra Costa RCD next year. Um, but yeah, if I'm seeing some comments pop up in the chat, if anyone has a quick question or comment they'd like to unmute themselves for, please feel free.
Is there anything in particular you're excited for at Contra Costa?
Yes, I'm very excited. Contra Costa, I don't think I talked about that. I spent 10 years in Alameda County, Contra Costa area, but I am just well, I'm going to very much miss Mendocino County Resource Conservation District, but they taught me a lot. They taught me well, and I feel like I'm still connected to the resource conservation world. And Contra Costa also made up of really awesome people, and there's going to be a coastal component also and more inland components. So it's going to be cool to, yeah, just make connections, but also, have the unique experience of serving in a different region.
That's great. Well, I'm so excited to hear more about your journey, Genna. But yeah, thank you so much for your presentation.